Where are your parents?
It's still recording right now, so I'm calling the police and let this shut down right now.
No 5 isn't a lot is all we have. I don't give a
How are you gonna act like you're not a We're not here to talk to you. We're not here to talk to you. Jason.
You're not even a girl to me. I mean, look at this animal. Like,
don't put your hand in my food again.
Just some of the massive podcasters and live streamers who embraced and platformed Donald Trump.
I made the baby cry. I'm sorry, bro.
What's wrong with you?
We have a serious problem. Full stop. Hey guys, it's your girl Cameron and I'm back at it again with another video. And today we need to discuss something in the wake of all the craziness that's been going on the past couple weeks. We have to discuss the destructive nature of streamers and live streaming. This conversation is well overdue, but I think this is the time to tackle this. So with Kai Cenat's long month, Mafiathon 2, dredging up the likes of Kim Kardashian for promo, a new antic or clip drops every single day. So even for those of us who aren't engulfed in the streaming world, it has almost been a bit unavoidable. And if you didn't know it existed before, it's very hard to ignore its impact now. A pastime that was once considered to be mainly in the interests of gamers, for example, has grown into a global business. We're in the stages where there is no running or hiding from the possible outcomes and effects of live streaming and streamers in particular, the communities created out of live streaming and its effects on those people watching it. But what seems like fun and games has potentially become something so socially grim that is shaping new minds in a younger generation. And it's this new form of entertainment where people not only get their entertainment from, but political views, social views, and interests from. Is this the ultimate echo chamber where bigotry and harassment runs rampant, relatively unregulated? I sit here to ask, is streaming entering a phase of little to no return? Comment down below, what do you guys think about streaming culture as a whole? Hit that subscribe button down below if you would like to see more commentary just like this video. I do pop culture commentary, but I also get into the social commentary space. If you like this video, you might like a video I did called Stop with the Humiliation Content. This is going to run along a similar line. Without further ado, let's get into the deep dark world of streaming. So let's talk about the essence of live streaming and how it started from the beginning. Live streaming to its truest essence started in the early 90s, and the first media players had live streaming capabilities where you would more likely see concerts or sports games. And with YouTube's emergence in 2005, video making capabilities unlocked as everyday people like me could make video content for users. And in 2008, YouTube Live held its first ever live stream event, so anyone, anywhere with a computer could access the stream live, real time. And this is where we do start to transition into the modern landscape of streaming. So a live stream platform allows users to broadcast live videos to onlookers so you can watch and react in real time, creating this spontaneous environment so that we as a community can engage directly in that moment. And this actually adds another layer to the parasocial, and it makes it easier to develop a connection to the streamer. It's almost like a virtual meet and greet that happens and occurs daily. And platforms like Twitch arrived on the scene in 2011, and that catered more so to a gaming audience, being made popular through the guise of video gaming content. People would play their games, other people would watch, comment, and it created this niche community. And this revolutionized how people saw live streaming, right? That it wasn't just for music events or sporting events, but for accessing people, watching people doing other things. And although most social media platforms do offer some sort of live streaming feature, more platforms began emerging as streaming only, creating a niche land for itself amongst the other sea of social media platforms at the time. And so we've seen a boom in live streaming content post-pandemic. To be exact, a 300% boom between March and August 2020. And where we'll also see a boom is in shopping for this month, with Black Friday sales ramping up for the holidays. It's gift-giving season, and as exciting and love-filled as that is, it can be very stressful trying to figure out not only a good gift, but a useful one. Well, Ridge is making it an easy decision for you this holiday season with up to 47% off some of your favorite items on their website. So thank you to Ridge for sponsoring today's video. Now, one thing we carry everywhere is our wallet and keys. It's been especially hard for me to find a wallet that's compact enough to fit in my purse, but also has enough space for my cards. And I finally found that. My Ridge wallet fits up to 12 cards, still has room for cash with the money clip, and it takes up little to no space in my bag. And the best part is its quality. Crafted using durable materials like titanium, aluminum, and carbon fiber, which keeps it lightweight, but also provides great protection, meaning that you'll have this wallet for a very, very long time. And the wallets also feature RFID blocking materials to keep your personal information safe and secure. And their wallets also come in over 50 colors and styles, which gives you endless options to either fit your style or pick one out for a family or friend. I've also been using their key case, which can hold from 1 to 6 keys, and not only do they have the same design that easily slips in your pocket or your purse, they make no noise. So say goodbye to noisy keys. And I also love how my wallet and my key case match. Head over to Ridge this holiday with deals up to 47% off on their website by clicking the link in my description box below. And I would just love to thank Ridge for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back into the commentary. In order to see what's going on here, we have to give you guys a lay of the land. So what are some of the most popular streaming platforms in today's modern landscape? We have to talk about Twitch, which ultimately dominates the space. It has 240 million active users, and in 2023, 7.1 million users streamed on the platform at least once a month, which this platform was the one that garnered most attention, right, to gamers. But it's made itself a mainstay in the live streaming space. Then there's also platforms like YouTube Live, TikTok Live.
Different galaxy.
I am not a robot. Thank you for the roses.
Gang, 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 gang.
That's the Wild Wild West, and Instagram Live. And then recently, like the new kid on the block that's been kicking ass, no pun intended, is Kick.com, which is one of the newest platforms to emerge out of 2022. And that has skyrocketed into a level of popularity. This platform itself has created some sort of controversy, which will intertwine with a lot of the issues that we have, with loose community guidelines, free speech, opposing cancel culture, and a generous compensation program where creators get 95% of the income that they make on the app. And actually, straight from the Kit community guidelines, they say, "We value the importance of constructive dialogue over knee-jerk reactions, often associated with cancel culture." So essentially, that's just code word for saying, we're just gonna get on here, you say what you want to say. If you get offended, let's have an open dialogue. So we'll talk about that. But there's also been controversy linking the platforms and its influence on gambling. One of the owners, who also owns a betting website called Stake, has been criticized with an article saying, quote, "Invested interest shared between platforms. The viability of Kick is called into question as merely a vehicle for promoting online gambling on Stake. And when you have a lot of children or people under the age of 18 on a website like this, you're conflating gambling with streaming. It can create bad habits." And that's just a theme. So generally speaking, through these live streams, you can earn money through subscription and donations in real time quite rapidly. And there's also this anonymous aspect of digital platforms like Twitch and Kick, right? The comments come in fast. You don't have to put a profile picture. There's not a lot of vetting. So people feel more emboldened to say whatever they want, fostering and harboring toxic and arguably hateful communities at times. And we've seen the birth of streamers making millions of dollars. That's the new thing. Some of whom are estimated to make about $500,000 a month. That's on the higher end, but even $20,000 a month. It's actually insane. So by no means is live streaming inherently bad. As with any platform, there are things that can make it dangerous. Viewer engagement and consistency is also very huge. And with its popularity, it's not fully, to me, being addressed seriously enough. So we could talk about some popular streamers, stats of streaming viewers. So Kai Cenat is a 22-year-old online streamer, and he specializes in comedic content. Or if you're around my age, you can think of it being iCarly-esque, right? He's basically the modern day iCarly. So if someone like him with a net worth of anywhere between 9 to 12 million, maybe more than that, He is the second most subscribed Twitch streamer of all time. Which shows he's created a large, substantial audience. And actually in 2024, Kai Cenat was the leading Twitch streamer worldwide, creating this empire out of live streaming, which has really set a lot of the precedents. Now, I would argue that his content is more positive leaning, but he definitely leans into the antics, being grandiose, and kind of presenting like this kiddish, young persona online. So a lot of younger children are attracted to his content. You have older people attracted to his content. So he kind of spans this timeline in this age group. He descends that. So when Kai announced a month-long nonstop streaming event, getting the likes of Kim Kardashian to be in the promo video and help promote it, it made me think that there's so many different worlds and interests that I am not very privy to. But there was actually behind the scenes footage from this mafia-thon that's going on right now. And they expose kind of the behind the scenes, the room that has all of the streaming equipment. It is a whole production. And what you think is something so simple as hitting a button, for some of these big creators, they're running these large operations. That looked like a news studio. It looked like a news production room. So food for thought. But this really had me thinking about what the is going on over there. What's happening? Because I'm out of the loop. I'm a 25-year-old girl. Child, that is not where I thrive. That is not where I live on the internet. So we started seeing more celebrities appearing on streams. This has become a new viable way to promote music, preview music, and connect with fans. So before, when people would go to the radio station or they would go on Good Morning America to do cartwheels at 8 in the morning, now people are going on a Kai Cenat stream and banking on spreading the word, almost like a form of like music journalism, which I don't want to call it that, but that's what's kind of slowly being replaced. You've seen artists like Nicki Minaj, Drake preview new music on stream, 21 Savage, Offset, G Herbo, Tyla, Kodak Black, Glorilla, right? And then we recently saw DDG showed up on the live stream with him and Hallie's baby. And that created a controversy and tweets back and forth, because there is this debate of the safety and the exposure of live streaming in particular, right? Separate from Instagram, separate from Twitter, there is a unique vortex that live streaming is. It's like if you're in that world, you get it. If you're not, you don't. And as cool as that can be for those niche communities, a lot of negativity can really thrive and foster in those environments. We've also seen big celebrities outside of music like Kevin Hart or John Cena appear on some of these live streams. And it's gotten to the point where you've even seen celebrities themselves create streaming channels. So when we talk about this issue of now streamers, and I'll even go far to say as podcasts, to reach a certain demographic, and by certain demographic, I will say a young male demographic, which reminds me of how a lot of celebrities now, political candidates, etc., are starting to use vessels like podcasts and internet media to reach out to younger audience members or fans. And A is because that's where the youth resides, right? Many people don't watch mainstream or traditional media like they once did. And B, sometimes to evade accountability on hard questions, because let's face it, some of these streamers and some of these podcasters are not trained journalists. They didn't even go to school. They didn't study. They're just having a conversation. And for some conversations, I think that's fine, right? You ping pong. But when we start to get into the political sphere or information that needs to be accurate, it can create a world of harm and misinformation in spaces where we cannot afford that. And I even think of just the idea of people kind of evading questions. When Katy Perry did the Call Her Daddy podcast, she was in all of this heat for Woman's World and working with Dr. Luke. And Alex, who was the podcast host, who I think she does a good job at what she does, but when it gets to those nitty-gritty questions, she doesn't really have a follow-up. And Katy Perry said something along the lines of,
"Thank you, because I have literally been the biggest fan for forever, and everything that you've built, like, no one can say anything other than, like, you're an icon. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy life to come here. Seriously. You're one of my, thank you, and you're one of my only interviews because I feel like you get it. You get it. You speak to the people in a way that they want to hear here. You know, you're super relevant.
And to me, that was a bit of a code word of like, you're not really going to ask me the tough questions. Like it's girl chat. I can kind of get away with this. I can skirt my way around it, and you're probably not going to ask much of a follow-up. So imagine with these platforms, especially online streamers, right, being spontaneous, live, on the fly, lack of fact checking, lack of research, while also reacting to live comments, it can create a storm of misinformation and chaos, bad behavior, intolerance, and miseducation. And quite frankly, we've seen this play out with the most recent election. Point blank, period. Young people, particularly young men, primarily watching these streams and not consuming much of anything else. So when these streamers, and podcasters act as your only source of media, right, it does become an echo chamber. As with other things, the echo chamber is not a new thing. It just shapeshifts. And this is the reality for many folks. A lot of youth, for example, are directly shaping their political and societal stances / opinions based on short TikToks, social media, streamers, internet personalities, where long-form nuanced content isn't generally encouraged or seeked out, or the youth has shorter attention spans. It's important that we gain the tools to do actual research, real research, watching documentaries, reading articles, reading scholarly articles, and being able to comprehend. And comprehension skills are severely lacking and declining because, once this man gets in here and dismantles the Department of Education, that is only going to get worse. And because on podcasts and streamers, we're actually talking about what could happen, you have people voting off of misinformation, right? And that can change the trajectory of people's lives. So that's why we need to start genuinely addressing this. And that's why we're here today. So about 42.8% of Gen Z social media users consume live streams. Okay, Gen Z is from age, I believe, 1997 to 2012. That's the guesstimate. Now, 44% of users say that they watch less TV as a result of live streaming. And regarding Twitch, 65% of the viewers are male, making a smaller viewership audience distribution than other platforms. And because a lot of these main streamers are either A, not discussing important topics, but rather worried about blowing up their room, or B, building platforms out of humiliation, and C, arguably the worst, fueling sexist and racist rhetoric, right? Harmful rhetoric. We fall into what we call the red pill. The manosphere has thrived in the name of podcasting, but especially streamers, especially male streamers. So when we talk about the red pill, we're going to get into this very briefly. From Reddit to social media timelines to podcasters to streamers. The name derives from a scene in the 1999 film The Matrix, where he says,
"You take the blue pill, the story ends, you wake up, you're in bed, and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes."
Rabbit hole equals reality. So there's these ideas on these, let's say, red pill Reddit threads where a lot of this rhetoric started initially, where men think that women run the world and don't take accountability for it. That nearly everything in their lives that is wrong is because of women.
All women want to do is work now. Women are flakier than before.
Like everything is a woman's fault, despite us not actually holding positions of power, right? Historically speaking, in many societies all over the world. So, yeah, we already have some cognitive dissonance going on, some misinformation happening. So this results in the degradation of women that can be internalized, remixed, and spewed into thought process and transformed into content. And that's what stage we're at now, which we've seen with particularly some of these streamers and podcasters. Some men and young boys are finding solace in this. They're finding comfort. We have reached another echelon of digital misogyny, but we ponder and see how much of this translates to real life, right? I think a lot of us have been we know it's existing, but we're not really sure how much this has started to manifest in real life. And boy, do we have a very rude awakening. Nick Price, who has watched the red pill community grow since the early 2000s, says, quote, What was once lighthearted and humorous slowly became sinister over time in a lot of communities. I think they generally start down these paths due to lack of self-esteem and identity, and they'll cling on to what they derive from it, and the idea that feminism is ruining their lives. So when the internet is acting as a third parent, yes, a third parent, because some of y'all will hand your kid an iPad when you're frustrated or don't want to deal with them, the internet is raising them. And these streamers and podcasters act as that role model, right? An internet figurehead influencing and shaping some of these kids' perspectives. So I suggest if you don't know what your kids are watching, you should know. You should be checking. Because, like, this stuff is not a joke. Exhibit A.
What did you take? What? No, wait. We love women. We love women.
But not like trans.
Yes, sir. We love everybody.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
What have I done?
And this is a very popular streamer, guys. You saw how in this video, he kind of laughs like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, where he actually really realized in that moment, oh, shoot, like, the stuff that I'm getting on the internet and saying is rubbing off on the male youth. And even though you could see him kind of be like, oh, shit, he's stuck by that 10 toes. And his response to that video was, they're children and obviously joking. This is how I was at 12, which is the problem, by the way. But if it sounds egregious to you, blame the pride flags in their classrooms. Blame the media for emasculating men. It's your fault for forcing an obvious agenda, not these kids. Boys will be boys. Yeah.
No.
And these are the people who are holding massive platforms. These are the people that kids are following and watching. When a major streaming platform like Kick says in their guidelines, quote, occasionally Kick can get rowdy, reflecting the lively and spontaneous nature of our live streaming community. If you insist on having total control over your environment at all times, you will likely have a tough time on Kick. So they basically said, tough luck. You're on your own, dog. For instance, Aiden Ross, who is a very popular, when you ask a young black creator to go on a platform to debate a legitimate
racist
for fun and views, you're not doing that to educate an audience. You're doing that to humiliate somebody and to push racist rhetoric.
You want to say something like that Aiden Ross had to pay $20,000 to talk to a girl. You're not even a girl to me. I mean, look at this animal. Come on, you know I wanted to pay you $20,000 so Nick could have fried you. And I would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars during that debate. It's okay.
Now, how did your life change? Did you get the job? Is your house any bigger? What positive happened in your life after you just tore that woman down? But you gained nothing.
And that's the problem. Someone like Aiden Ross, oh, this is just entertainment. No, this is indoctrinating people. This is spreading misinformation. It's spreading hate. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why people are not more outraged by this. Literally wanting somebody to debate someone who literally after the election said, your body, our choice. And I'm not going to play the clip and I'm not going to say this man's name. But this is the rhetoric that is being pushed. This is the rhetoric that is being spewed. And this is the rhetoric that popular streamers, some of the most successful streamers on these platforms are promoting. Even the quote, good ones are intermingling with the bad apples, right? So to me, it's like, we need to go back to a square, like Uno. In turn, younger audience members are taking and processing that information with little differentiation between accuracy and honesty. Many of these kids are looking at what Aiden Ross does and how he acts, right? The energies that he invites onto his platform, and it serves as a green light. Basic psychology, guys. It's not rocket science. And not only are many women on these platforms reporting that they mainly gain male viewers, which for instance on Twitch, that does make sense because male viewership makes up the majority of users. But there's an age gap. You have young girls streaming saying like, most of the people who follow me are like 40-year-old men who are leaving me creepy comments. And then you see misogyny at display. There was a streamer who was on a yacht and there were girls partying, and he said something that was actually deplorable.
How are you gonna act like you're not a You shook ass on my stream 50 million times! Oh, my bad. And that's what you're here for. We're not here to talk to you. We're not here to talk to you. Shake.
And the worst part is that there were guys in the comments laughing and joking about it, right? So it serves to make this much more normalized and make people much more numb to this behavior. Pokimane, who's the most followed female Twitch streamer, has over 9 million followers. And she actually said, quote, The way that people treat me deters any other women in this space from genuinely talking about their honest opinions or behaving how they probably really want to, because they recognize that that's the treatment they can expect. And she also shared an anecdote of meeting a smaller female streamer who told Pokimane that she was way too scared to stream without makeup because of a 2018 incident where fans made fun of Pokimane for not wearing makeup. Guys, she looked normal. She looked fine. Like, there was nothing wrong with her appearance. And so this has signaled to other female streamers, I need to wear makeup. I need to look a certain way or else I'm going to get harassed for it. And this is common on Twitch. This is common on other streaming platforms. And actually, 45% of video game players in a 2022 survey identified as female. And that same survey found that 76% of the interviewees who identified as female admitted that they do try to hide their gender while playing video games online, because the majority of whom said they did it because they wanted to avoid the extra harassment. And that's not okay. Some of these Twitch streamers who are women say that they experience this every day.
You get sexualized as a woman and like that's your only thing.
Women on Twitch are expected to have an OnlyFans.
It's constantly spammed every single day. I'm like,
it is every day.
It's every day. So you get an Instaban. They're like, oh my God,
she's a prude.
You're a prude or you're so sensitive.
And when we discuss voting in this recent election, some of Gen Z's male youth have echoed these sentiments, which ultimately showed up at the ballot boxes, leaving us with these horrid results. I said it. Y'all know how I feel. And I severely underestimated that side of the internet because I'm not there. And streamer Hassan Piker discussed the outcome of the election and red pill content, manosphere content.
There is a massive amount of right-wing radicalization that has been occurring, especially in younger male spaces. Everything is completely dominated by right-wing politics. If you're a dude under the age of 30 and you have any hobbies whatsoever, whether it's playing video games, whether it's working out, whether it's, I don't know, listening to like a history podcast or whatever, every single facet of that is just completely dominated by center right to, I wouldn't say far right in the same way that it was back in like the 2016 era at the end of like Obama's administration, but like definitely center right to Trumpian right. Everything that they see is right-wing sentiment being expressed by individuals that they find charismatic, thought leaders, influencers that they subscribe to. And I think that that is some of the reason why you see this movement.
But also people have pushed back on Hassan himself, saying that his platform partook in misinforming and psychoanalyzing the case that was Depp versus Heard, right? Which resulted in a lot of misinformation, ideas of misogyny, etc. I did not watch a lot of the coverage, but I wanted to bring that up because some people criticize him for even talking about it. Because apparently he is partaken in some harmful content and harmful narratives as well. And you see some newscasts starting to report on this kind of content.
Just some of the massive podcasters and live streamers who embraced and platformed Donald Trump during his campaign. And instead of subjecting himself to fact-checking from the likes of 60 Minutes, Trump was able to reach tens of millions of American voters in a fact-free, safe space, casually mixing talk about golf, drugs, or whatever with his campaign message. It paid off big time, not only because of the sheer amount of voters he was able to reach, but the type of voters he reached. Younger voters, and particularly younger men, the so-called bro vote. According to NBC News exit polling, Trump picked up a larger proportion of voters under 30 than any Republican presidential candidate since 2008.
Really shifting and making kind of like a new wave, especially for the younger youth. That might be setting us back like 20, 30 years. We get into this part that we like to call humiliation content. Humiliation content on stream is a different breed, bro. And not only is it doing it to themselves, but also involving strangers. So let's look at a couple of cases. If you ever see these people on the street, walk the other way, steer clear, leave.
See ya.
So one streamer recorded himself going out to dinner with a homeless woman and leaving her with the bill for jokes. I believe he got kicked off the platform. But what I will say is I'm sure a lot of these guys were doing some foul shit before and it goes too far. And then the platforms F around and find out and it's too late. There was another guy who went into some sort of Office Max and was streaming from one of their desks. And a worker had to deal with the headache that was this guy, and threatened to call security or police for him to leave.
Mercedes donated $1. Tell that black get back to work.
Now you really have to sit. Now you really have to knock it down.
Slave donated $1. Tell that brother he'd look good with some on.
You heard that? I'm sorry about that.
Please don't go into people's places of work. Don't do that. Another guy snatched a guy's hat off his head in the gym and got slapped. Rightfully so. And then he had the nerve to act like he didn't know what he did was that bad.
Oh, I didn't know that was bad. My bad, Brad. Like, actually. No, actually. Put the camera down.
This is how you know that some of these kids have no boundaries. If you are having young children who haven't yet regulated their emotions or are still learning proper behavior, accessing this, seeing people touch people, take people's stuff off, and violate people's personal space, that is something that can be and will be mimicked in real life. Another kid walking down the street and touched some stranger's food and walked off, and the other person got bucked, and he started getting bucked too. Like, where are your parents? Where are your parents? Recently, another kick streamer, his name is Johnny Somali, was actually prohibited from leaving South Korea and is facing up to 10 years in prison. I believe it might be 17 now. He was kicked off a subway, causing some sort of scene in a convenience store. And outrage also sparked when he kissed a statue of peace, which is a monument to victims.
He deeply offended people when he kissed and twerked on the Statue of Peace, a national monument meant to recognize women who were forced into slavery during the Japanese occupation of South Korea.
Are you seeing the pattern? There's a streamer right now who's attempting to stay in solitary confinement for a full month with no light. He's at 3 weeks and counting, guys. Streamers are causing permanent damage to themselves and their psyche, and people are sitting back, kicking their feet up, and enjoying it with their popcorn. It's absolutely dangerous to be numb to stuff like that. And you can see in his video, it literally says $50 for mouth tape for an hour, $5 for a handstand. Other streams, they might use another merit. $5 and I'll make out with this person. $5 and I'll pull the hat off this guy. Right? So it's like people are kind of playing the simulation of sorts themselves. There was also a streamer who got a $5 donation from a subscriber.
Hey, Ron, this is my last $5 on my mom's account. I just want to show my gratitude for your amazing content. She understood because she knows how much you meant to me. I know 5 isn't a lot, but this is all we have. I don't give a f. It's $5. Do you think I care?
What am I going to do with $5? I spent $90 to fill in my tank.
Just ungrateful. And I know y'all might think like it's a one-off, but based off of these anecdotes and putting everything to play, there is a really negative culture that is being built around the virality. What's going viral? Who are the faces of these platforms at large? And you're seeing this consistent theme and pattern. That's clearly, it's a hit with the younger kids. And I do want to balance this, not to villainize all streamers. Or 2 Twitch streamers left a $2K tip to a high school teacher who works doubles at IHOP. That was very nice, very heartwarming. More of that. Kai Cenat also love rated a smaller streamer's stream. And made that girl cry tears of joy. I mean, she got all these subs, she made extra money, and it resulted in her gaining hundreds of subs. And I think those are things that you can do to spread the love, spread the wealth. But unfortunately, overwhelmingly, what gets attention and what goes popular and what's propped up is not always that. Because there's some harmful things going on, personally, I feel like these platforms should be slightly more regulated based off the demographic that's consuming the content. Some of the way that the biggest people on the platform are conducting themselves. Some people like Aiden Ross have had 9 lives because these streaming platforms stand on nothing. Aiden Ross was allegedly or apparently banned from Twitch in 2021 for allegedly using a slur. I guess there was a bit of a confusion. He said he didn't do it and it was somebody else. Lord, I don't even know why slurs are being thrown around on a live stream anyways, but okay. And then his followers started a hashtag free Aiden, like this man was in jail. And then over a year later, he was banned indefinitely due to the use of hateful slurs or symbols. And then he was able to resume streaming again in June 2022. And then he was banned from Twitch for the 8th time on February 25th, 2023, this time permanently, for, quote, hateful conduct. After, in his stream, he showed his unmoderated Kick live chat on stream, which was flooded with racist and anti-Semitic messages by viewers. Permanently this time. Wink. Maybe, don't know. But to me, it's like, how many chances do you allow these folks? You're already poisoning people's minds. You're already spewing hateful rhetoric. And these people have shown time and time again they don't give a damn. Kicked off one day, back on the next. But then the Twitch CEO was toying around with the idea. He said he might consider unbanning him if he shows he's changed. How do you show you've changed when you've been banned 8 times? Maybe that's just who you are. Maybe that's just not a good person to have representing your platform. And Aiden Ross has expressed wanting to clean up his image. He said, quote, "We're going to get unbanned on Twitch because what that's going to do is it's going to raise a lot of roofs. Because this community, we got to fix this shit. We're toxic as F and we're going to fix this." Toxic can mean a lot of things and it's not specific enough for me. You guys use toxic as a blanket statement for abominable behavior, for racist, sexist, homophobic behavior. Let's call it what it is by name. Let's educate the youth. Let's tell them what your words mean, what you are doing, what you are partaking in. Boom. And I get it. Some of these streamers aren't the brightest crayons in the box, so they probably don't have the tools to do that. But then as a platform, it is your job to shape what the face of that looks like. So no, it's more than just toxic. It's the same thing when people are like, oh, we're in a toxic relationship, but y'all are beating each other up. That's more than just toxic, okay? Like, let's start calling things what they are. I mean, we've seen crazy things. We've seen a kid literally crash his car on Kick. Midstream. He did get kicked off of it, but the fact that people have the audacity to even do some like that, right? And I'm not here to share this news so that you can be up to date with the streaming drama. It's to be vigilant about what's happening, right? We see a pattern. These people who are on these platforms spreading hate, especially the streaming platforms, but these podcasters, all of this. You can't sit here, like the Twitch CEO can't sit here and say the views shared by streamers on Twitch are not the views of Twitch, right? And then keep banning and unbanning people who are sharing horrible views, because to me it kind of sounds like you're in limbo. Like, so I want us to be vigilant about what's happening, right? What kids are accessing, maybe what your man is accessing, what your boyfriend's accessing, and how this can dangerously manifest into the world around us. Live streaming doesn't have to be inherently bad. Remember when people would just like play their games, you know? But as all social media platforms can do, they can produce positive and have also produced negative. But we can argue for sure. I don't even think this is an argument. There are some platforms that harbor more negativity than others. But the more we normalize this across platforms, it starts to bleed into one another. And then we look up one day and it's unregulated and we don't even know where to start. But when there's a unique culture being built around a platform like live streaming, Twitch, Kick, whatever, and a lot of youth is consuming it in growing numbers, it's important to discuss it, it's important to dissect it, and it's important that these platforms reform or have little tolerance for hateful communities. Right? You can have opinions. So it's truly out of control. I really wanted to talk about this today. So like, comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more commentary content from me. And I'm going to leave you with this. Remember to head over to Ridge, click the link in my description to check out their wallets and key cases for this holiday season with deals up to 47% off their website. And without further ado, I will see you guys in my next video.